Welcome back, everyone, to Murder in Retrograde. Today's case is not unusual in the crime, but there is one huge difference from a lot of crimes that we cover. It was solved. And thanks to excellent police work, a parent's intuition, and a text message, no one was killed.
Thank goodness. We're going to dive into it now. So I'm Jenna Kaplan,
I'm Brittany Sheffrin.
and this is Murder in Retrograde. So 19-year-old Madelyn Allen was a college student at Snow College in Utah. And like all American college kids, she was glued to her phone. And last December 13th was no exception. Madelyn was last spotted on surveillance cameras in her dorm exiting the building. And the security footage released by the school showed her wearing a jacket and a skirt as she exited the building. And if you're watching, you'll see this image from the surveillance cameras.
Yeah, it just looks mundane, like she's just running out to run an errand. Like she's not dressed up or anything.
Right.
No. So at this point, it was anyone's guess where she was headed. It wasn't until the next morning that her parents began to worry. Madelyn had text messaged them early saying just, "I love you." And the fact that there was nothing else to the text obviously worried Madelyn's parents. So they both called the police and their daughter's cell phone provider, which was Verizon.
And really quick for people who maybe aren't parents, I feel like why that's weird is because, like, one, she's a teenager. I think an "I love you" usually will become the beginning or an end of like a conversation. So for it to come out of left field, you're like, what are they doing? What's going on?
Yeah,
I don't know,
yeah.
but I feel like unless you're a parent, you don't really understand that context a bit. But when it comes out of nowhere, that's what I think made them nervous.
Definitely.
So Madelyn's parents are very protective for good reason. Madelyn made a video praising them in which she says, quote, "My parents have always called me a fighter." She revealed that she was just a pound and a half at birth and endured countless doctors and therapy appointments that left her developing severe anxiety about many things, including schools, new places. She said she found joy, though, in many things like baking, dancing, music, traveling, and she had had auditioned for a high school musical.
Imagine how important she was. Like every child is important, but having to go through all of that and seeing her when she was just a pound and a half,
Mm-hmm.
not that anyone is more important, but the parents that go through things with their children, it's
I
another
mean,
level.
yeah, think about it. What that really looks like from the little I know about this kind of stuff is you're in the NICU and your baby's in a container that you can't really touch them and they're under lights and it's got to be so scary and you can't take them home. You can't stay there either. It's like it's and they're there for months because it takes a while to put on the enough pounds and healthy to like leave the work. It's so scary. I can't even imagine. I think those parents and children are just incredible.
Yeah. I definitely don't know. My kids both came out looking like they were 4 years old. So I don't know anything about these tiny babies. Allen was born with a brain bleed and has faced many, many challenges, according to her father. He said she was born prematurely at only 26 weeks, and she had mental and emotional difficulties, but had repeatedly overcome these many obstacles, he said, adding that, again, she loved art and music. So obviously a very loved, very important girl.
Yeah. Alan's parents contacted Verizon for her phone records, and what they found confused them. The text messages that Madelyn sent her parents early that morning were sent from the town of Loa, Utah, 87 miles south of her campus. So that's alarming.
Yeah, I would immediately be panicking. Her parents became increasingly concerned, especially because Madelyn had no access to a car. The police were also poring over Madelyn's cell phone data. And in what I'm sure was a terrifying discovery, they found text messages on her phone with conversations of a violent sexual nature.
Yeah. This is what surprised me the most about this case is that, yeah, that was the nature of the text messages. It was kind of shocking. So this is exactly what you hope police do in every case. And like when we say incredible police work, I have to like give them a pat on the back. They did a fantastic job. They immediately jumped into action, and that immediate action is the reason this case ends the way it does.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, these police officers were remarkable, but I think we would be remiss if we didn't say she was a white girl in Utah,
I mean,
and
yeah.
there's a Black woman right now who she was murdered, in my opinion. Lauren, I forget her last name, but in New York, she went on a Bumble date and then she was
Mhm.
found dead with fentanyl in her system. And she's getting more attention now because like Cardi B spoke about her. But this is wonderful. I'm not taking away from this at all, but let's hope for more police officers like this and more police forces like this that just immediately went into action.
Yeah.
And once they saw the violent text messages, authorities had proof that Madelyn was, in fact, in immediate danger. So investigators began a search of the town of Loa, which ended in them finding Madelyn. According to the affidavit, investigators on December 18th discovered more cell phone pings in Loa and began a massive search for the missing teen in the town with just a population of 500.
So it is kind of crazy because they make one decision to do these like door to doors, and this is what solves it. This is like the crazy part. So law enforcement was just pure foot to the pavement, knocked on almost every single door in Loa. And the detective says, we didn't know she was in Loa. We knew that her last ping location was in Loa. And as they approached a house, they observed through a basement window with a person with light colored hair and a small build in the basement of the house. The affidavit went on to say, as they knocked, this person ran out of sight. So, like, so many little things had to kind of fall in line for this to happen, and people paying attention to things that aren't right. I mean, that's crazy.
Yes, I mean, it definitely seems like time was ticking. The home was owned by the Browns, who had a 39-year-old son named Brent Brown. Brent's parents allowed police to search the home, and it was then that they found Madelyn. She was naked, terrified, and covered in coal soot. She was being kept in the coal storage area of the home, which, if you don't know, because I know my dad had one growing up, it's like under the house. It's the basement, and it's just filled with coal and so toxic, so awful. You can't breathe. I can't, ugh, torture. I can't imagine.
So wild. I've never even heard of that. Madelyn met Brown in an online chat group and had arranged to have him pick her up. I mean, that alone, like raising daughters, terrifies me.
Mm-hmm.
On the day, so that happened on the day she went missing. And apparently, Brown told police that he had met her on a quote bondage site group. So it's so sad. I mean, listen, she, to her credit, she thought she was doing something that was an agreed upon thing, right? Because I find that the more we hear about these bondage or BDSM type situations, like there needs to be two partners that are consenting and on the same page. And he fully used that to his advantage to like reel her in. And that's, not her fault. I feel terrible that it went this way.
Yeah, I mean, this was the last thing I thought we were going to find, that she
Same.
was involved in this. And but even if she was in a bondage chat room, and even if she like decided to meet up with him, we also know that she has learning disabilities,
Yeah.
and she has all of these, who knows what's going on. If she was lured in, lured into one of these chat rooms and then just got in over her head, like
That's a great point.
a person can groom somebody into all of those
Thinking that
things.
these things are okay or appropriate or whatever.
or
Yeah.
or you could be right and that's something she's into and it was an agreed upon thing. I mean, I feel like we're old dinosaurs now because we were like, she was doing what now? But maybe it's not that big of a deal, and maybe
Yeah.
she was trying to do it the responsible way. But holy shit, tell your kids that these are the scariest places you could possibly be.
Yeah.
But like once your kids at college,
Yeah, it's terrifying. I'm not ready.
this is the world we live in. So it just must have been so difficult for her and her parents to have to face this, because then it gets out in the media, and so
Mhm.
then like relatives know, and it's so silly because everybody has secrets. Everybody, like in Europe, it's so normal to have kinks and it's like accepted. In America, it's like shun the person. Meanwhile,
Yeah,
the
it's a
people
little bit.
shunning are the most messed up. I mean, look at any Christian pastor that's been arrested in the last 20 minutes. They're the most screwed up. But don't get me started.
So Madeline later told investigators that Brown had held her against her will, sexually assaulted her, and threatened her family, according to the indictment. Brown told investigators that he had sex with Allen on multiple occasions, but said it had been consensual and part of a kidnapping role play. I have
Ugh.
to wonder, like, if in a courtroom though, like someone could very easily, I feel like, get off because they're like, no, we agree. And there's not really, do you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
very scary that someone can just be like, no, it was supposed to be this way. And she was on board. And you're like, wait, what? So it's literally a he said, she said, I don't know.
I feel like
It
that
scares me.
happens. I think that happens a lot. And it probably goes both ways where somebody's lying and it wasn't that
Yeah,
way. And vice versa. People say, oh, I didn't agree to this when they did. So
scary.
it's just so personal to have splashed out there. And I'm sure they don't care. They just wanted their daughter. But like the aftermath
I'm sure
is
she's got a lot of
huge.
stuff to deal with after that. I mean, not only the physical and stuff that actually happened, but this kind of fallout and people knowing all your business.
Hopefully, it just makes them a stronger family.
I agree.
So court documents indicate Madelyn and a man named Brent Brown met online, like we said, in a chat group on the Kik app. It's Kik. Do you know about that app? I've heard about it,
Again,
but I
a
don't know what it
dinosaur. I
is.
have never heard of this.
No.
No.
So she had intended to meet with him on December 13th.
Yeah, and authorities believe Brown permitted her to send the text before taking her phone away, the I love you text to her parents, after seeing a news report about the missing woman. So Brown had told police he threw her cell phone into the trash at a local store after she had messaged her parents. However, according to the affidavit, he told her that he had shipped it to Arizona. I mean, he's trying to cover his tracks, but like, I don't know.
Seems like a guy who knows what he's doing. Brent Brown picked Madelyn up that early morning, immediately took her phone, turned it off, and then drove her nearly 90 miles to his home in Loa, Utah, the indictment said. So who knows what he did with her phone? All we know is he allowed her to send one text and then she didn't have it any longer.
Brown said he threw her phone away and after being contacted by authorities on December 18th, put the rest of her belongings in a suitcase. And then that same day, police came to Brown's home and saw a college ID for Allen in plain view, according to the indictment. And Brown was detained shortly after and read his Miranda rights. I'm actually also kind of shocked that he allowed them in the house. Like, I feel like someone in that situation would be like, do you have a warrant? No. Okay. No.
I know, I don't understand because they say that his parents allowed them to search the house.
Maybe they didn't
So
know that she was
maybe
there.
they did. Oh, these parents that don't know, but maybe not. I mean, we know that there are parents out there that are neglectful, so
Yeah.
possibly they live in one side, and because it
I mean,
is a
he's also a
basement.
39-year-old man. So like the whole
Yeah.
situation is bizarre.
At a press conference, Allen's father, Jonathan Allen, said he and his wife, quote, dropped to our knees when they learned their daughter had been found. We are so excited to have our Maddie home, her mother, Tanya Allen, said. We love her so much, and she has been such a light and joy in our lives. We're so grateful that we can continue our lives together with her. And it took the effort of so many, and we're so grateful, and we love you. We pray for our sweet Maddie as she moves forward that she can find hope and happiness and joy in her future. She is alive because of law enforcement. She certainly was in danger, and we are continuing the investigation. This is the DA. Sorry, this quote is the DA. She was certainly in danger, and we are continuing the investigation. We will go where the evidence will lead us. We're also investigating if there were any other victims out there, which I'm glad about because it seems like he was pretty good at this.
Yeah, agreed. And I also think this just goes to show that like old school police work still works, guys. Like we don't need to wait on DNA or CV or camera, whatever. Like just the simple fact of going door to door and like trying to get into people's houses to like see what's going on or if there's anything amiss is the whole reason they found her. I just think
yeah, I think it's really important. And I don't think enough people give credit to that, because they're like, where's the DNA? Where's the video? And it's like, that takes a long time to get that information if it's
Yeah.
even recorded,
Yeah.
and the cops went out right out there. They're not going to sit back and wait. Somebody's life was in danger.
And it also sounds like Verizon worked with the family quickly, which is also great because I feel like sometimes there's roadblocks there, even getting your kids or anyone's phone records for that matter.
Yeah, but as they whittle away our personal freedoms, it's getting easier and easier for them to get those.
I was gonna say I don't think it's that. I think it's that they probably pay for her. She's probably on their cell phone plan and they just requested I don't think it's that. I think it's that they had access to her account. But I'm with you. Okay, so Brown was arrested and charged with obstruction of justice, aggravated kidnapping, rape, and object rape. The 39-year-old male, an initial court appearance where he pleaded with the judge to release him on bail so he could spend Christmas with his children.
He has children, people. Yeah. He has children.
Terrifying. He spoke via a video link from the county jail and said, and he actually had the audacity to say, quote, "It would be nice to be home for Christmas. I don't get to see my kids." First of all, you shouldn't be procreating. No. And you don't deserve fucking anything.
And you shouldn't be anywhere near any children.
No.
Madelyn revealed to police that she had spoken with a user named Cowboy, and she had agreed to meet up with him. According to authorities, Brown picked her up and drove her to his parents' home 87 miles away from her school. The affidavit alleges that Brown tied the 19-year-old up while he went to work, leaving enough slack for her to reach food and the bathroom. The suspect has claimed that tying her up was a form of sexual role play. So again, it's all excuses. This is torture. This is not sexual.
No. And it's horrific as the entire ordeal was. She's alive, and something we rarely get to say when we're doing these cases on this podcast. And the victim, Madelyn Allen, was reunited with her family on December 18th, 5 days after she went missing.
Absolutely. And hopefully this man will be held responsible. Brown is accused of holding Allen captive and is being held without bail on 6 felony counts. As we said earlier, he has previously been charged with traffic violations, assault, and witness tampering, according to court records. So a real winner.
I'm serious. We need to throw the book at people like this. Just lock them up, castrate them, and be done with it.
We should Handmaid's Tale the first episode. Remember when the guy went in the middle and they used the stones?
I was like, a second.
That was when I first saw that scene. I was like, I don't think I can watch this show.
How about the last scene of the last episode of the last season? So gnarly.
Yeah.
In November, he shared a man's. So speaking of who this guy is, Brent Brown. In November, he had shared a man's post that read, quote, "I'm proud to be an American. I bet no one passes on because they are scared to be called racist." And he also shared several news stories about child rape cases in the past. And in November, he also shared a man's photo that read, "Human trafficking should scare you more than COVID." So he's seemingly trying to be an ally for crimes against children. And not to say she's not a child. I mean, she's technically an adult, but I would think because of, maybe some possible mental development stuff and whatever, she was probably more child. Anyways, either way, the age, you're not an advocate for children and their safety. You're quite the fucking opposite.
But this is really common for, in my opinion, since I think I'm an FBI profiler, he has very low intelligence, obviously, but he thinks he can outsmart people. And by outsmarting means doing the opposite of what you're doing in life on your stupid Facebook. That we see this in Delphi. There's quite a few people who follow the case. It's like people that that go back to the scene of the crime, or it's like that all along that sort of vein where they really want to talk about the things that they do.
Put themselves in the investigation, be helpful, but they're really trying to
get information. Yeah, exactly. So Brown apparently raped her several times daily, and Madelyn said she did not want to have sex with Brown, but was afraid to leave because he had threatened her family. Also very common. She even saw a television report on her disappearance. ABC4 reported that an affidavit said Brown did not allow Allen to wear clothes during her time at his house. She also alleged that he choked her and carried a knife, the television station reported. ABC4 reported the police saw Allen's ID in Brown's house, like we said, and a gun was located in an open suitcase that contained clothes that appeared to have belonged to her as well. Brown said that he and Allen met on Kick, like we said, in a slave domination fetish group. So authorities concluded in the indictment that there was probable cause to believe Allen was raped, kidnapped, and choked, and that Brown attempted to conceal her location despite likely being aware that she was the subject of a missing persons investigation because even she saw it on the news. Whew. I mean,
Terrifying.
it's really, really scary. And I'm just glad that they have a lot of evidence that she's home, that her parents are obviously going to take good care of her and get her the help that she needs.
I'm just, it's such a like simple thing, like I said before, that like led them to her just knocking on door. I don't know. And I think too, it just goes like, if you see something, say something kind of thing like this. I'm just amazed that they were able to locate her and bring her home in 5 days. Like, I know for her, that probably felt like an eternity.
Yeah.
And same for the parents, but like for it to be wrapped up, and the gun in the suitcase makes me very nervous because I feel like if she wasn't found, is probably going to try and get rid of her or keep her. I mean, who knows? People like that. And I just, it never gets out ever.
I'm sure more information will come out as he's charged and, you know, everything is released. So we'll keep everybody updated, but it is a gnarly case. Thank goodness Madelyn is alive.
Yoo-hoo. Good ending, finally. Only, you know, a year and a half later.
Yeah. I know. Hopefully more of these. Thank you, police officers.
Yes. Thank you for all the hard work. And I'm sure there's ways to support her. We'll double check if there's any GoFundMe's that are actually legit or anything like that and put it on our website. So if you do want to help, there'll be resources there. Until next time, make sure you follow us on social media at Murder in Retrograde, or website where you can contact us there, and YouTube. And yeah, that's all. That's all we got.
Be safe
and trust your gut.
Adios.
Yeah.